Welcome in, everybody. Chris P. Austin here, coming at you from the Hunting Happiness podcast. And I'm really looking forward to today. We're getting into a really cool topic, one that I utilize frequently, almost on a daily basis with the people who I work with, the people who work with me, and most importantly for myself, I utilize it for myself. So what the topic for today is 3 keys to start productivity. If you are a person listening to this and you want to be productive, I want you to raise your hand in your mind. And that's going to be over 95% of the people who I interact with. This is the primary thing that they're in search for, productivity. They want to find a way to be able to get more done, to be able to do more of what they want to do, to be able to have financial means with what it is that they want to do. So I'm going to give you 3 big keys, 3 big unlocks that are going to help you with your productivity and really being able to maximize your level of happiness in that area. So, first one, we're getting right into it. Figuring out who you are. And what I mean by that, that's not necessarily where you're born, where you come from, although those details do play a role. But it's more so thinking about who you want to be. And when I say that, that's not who you want to be based on what your family has told you. That's not who you want to be based on what society finds popular. And that's definitely not who you want to be based on what your critics say. But who you are is essentially who you want to be deeply in your root, in that space you're in when you're alone and you're not speaking to anybody. You're just thinking about what it is you want. So if you're a person who is a librarian because you just love reading books, but ultimately what you want is to be able to take that to a brand new level in your mind. And a brand new level to you looks like you being on a cover of a magazine, giving reviews on books, telling people what the best books to read and what specific category. I want you to understand that it's possible. It is absolutely possible. If your first instinct tells you there's at least a 1% chance that you could be the person to go to for which book to read right now, then make it a thing. If you're a person who wants to become a lawyer and you want to try the most prestigious criminal cases in the country or in the world, and you're a person who says at least 1% of you has the knowledge and the patience and can take in the information and regurgitate it back out to be able to help people get to the ultimate verdict that they want, then go and do it and try for it. So what's holding up most people, and I mean most people in the world, is the lack of belief that they'll be able to accomplish their goal. It's what holds up people from pursuing goals. It's what holds up people from even starting the process. So we're going to get into these 3 keys today. And that first one is who you are. So think about who you are, as in who you want to be. For me personally, I want to be the person who masters mentality and then is able to teach other people how to do that, how to master happiness, hunt it down on a daily basis, and make sure that it's something that lives in my life every single day. It's something that I can go to when times are awesome, something that I can go to when times are challenging, and when times are routine. For you, it may be something different. It might be something sports related, something entertainment related. It might be something educational. It might be something political. But I do want you to think about who you want to be and what you want to do. And if there's even 1% of you that tells you that you could have the physical, mental capabilities to be able to accomplish it, then make that the next deal for you. So, moving into exactly how to determine who you are. It's this simple. Watch. It's this simple. Think about what you would want to do in your most happy and ideal state. I was working with a client yesterday, and it was a really fun process because I asked them, what's your situation when you're most happy? I want you to think of your most happy moment in the last 6 months to 12 months. What is the most happy that you found yourself? And they explained it out super clearly without hesitation. They said, I was at the beach, I was on a lifeguard stand, I was with my people, I was listening to music, I was watching the waves of the ocean, and I was just thinking about creativity. And I thought to myself, like, most people think that something like that is not bottleable. Most people think that that is not something that can be replicated and had consistently. It's almost like this, the stars have to align moment. But that's something that you could have in your life consistently, even if you're a kid. Whether you're a kid or an adult. If you're an adult who's got family, mortgage, people to take care of, a job to get to, or if you're a kid who's got homework and family responsibilities and chores and extracurricular activities, I'm telling you that it's possible. It is possible. You can do it. So a portion of being able to do it, it is figuring out exactly who you are and what it is you want. So think about what it is you want, and it may not come to you immediately. It may not come as this, boom, I know exactly what that looks like, or it may. In either way, I want you to understand that anybody else's opinion on what it is you want is irrelevant. If what it is you want is to be an astronaut, and you have somebody in your house telling you, well, that doesn't make a lot of money, or, well, that's played out, or that's obsolete, now they have X, Y, and Z, that's somebody else projecting their reality onto you. It's important that you think about what you want so that you can figure out who you are. Because ultimately, who you are can be symmetrical with who you want to be. It just requires some work. And the work will be worth it if it's ultimately what you want. The work will be worth it if it is ultimately what you want. That's an important concept to know. So the second key inside of this is going to be starting big. And that's something that will be even worth writing down. Put that in your notes. Put that on a sheet of paper and put it on your door. Put that as your screensaver, because starting big means you're not tiptoeing into it. If you've decided who you want to be and you've decided what it is you want, don't tiptoe. Don't go in gently. Don't stick your toe into the water. Decide to start big. And how do I start big? You start big by committing. You start big by saying, this is something I'm going to pursue daily, not something that I'm going to do as my secondary, something that I'm going to add in a couple hours here and there to see if it'll work out. Because if you stick your toe in the water in today's way, in today's generation, the way that things are moving today, it's less likely to happen for you. You've got to be willing to dive. You've got to be willing to start big. If you start big, you raise your percentages. If you raise your percentages, that's going to make you the person who has the best chance of being able to make it happen. It applies the same in any craft. We're talking sports, business, relationships. When your percentages go up, your rate of success goes up. So if you pursue it every single day and you put time and effort into it every single day, and it's something you want to do, why not? Go for it. Get big. Like, put the time and effort into it, because that is where you'll end up finding your happiness. It's inside of that journey. It's inside of that process. It's inside of the time, the repetitions. It's inside of all the valuable lessons that you learn along the way. And those lessons will be unlike any other lessons you take, because they're centered around something that you want to do. They're centered around who you want to be. And ultimately, if you can become who you want to be, there's no happier place. There's no happier space if you can become who you want to be. So start big. How to start big? Start creating the plan of exactly what you're going to add into every day. For me, that plan is making sure I give you this communication. You can hear my voice. You can see me if you want to. You can start to intake these concepts so you can start to feel what I feel on a daily basis. Real deal happiness. True happiness. On a daily basis. Every day. There's positive things I take away every day. There's things, if somebody comes up and asks me, what's good about your life? I don't have to reference something from 3 weeks ago. I can reference something from today. This is what I want for the people who want that for themselves. So, for you who may want to entertain people as an athlete, you may want to be a singer or a dancer. Maybe you want to be a doctor and you want to help people in that way. Maybe you want to skydive and you want to show people how rad it is to be in the air, taking chances, going for it, living life, because you feel like life is best lived in the sky. It's really up to you, but ultimately, starting big is the second key. You've got to be willing to go big. So if I want to skydive, I'm going to get in my 20 hours of research on the safety habits, how to get into it, who's doing it at the highest level, how I can get my foot in the door. I'm going to start doing that research today, and I'm going to spend hours on it on a daily basis. And for those of you who feel like you don't have hours, you have hours. There's 24 hours in a day, and even if you were getting 8 hours of sleep, that leaves 16. Say you had 8 more for school or business, that leaves 8. Say you had 3 more just because of having to get dressed, shower, transition, eat your meals, things like that. That leaves 5 more. Say out of those 5, you have to do 2 hours of responsibilities like reading your book, doing your homework, getting that extra project done for your work, doing what you said you'd do for your neighbor. That leaves hours. There's time to be had. And you could still work out. And you could still just sit and exist and have laughs. There's time. So I don't want anybody here to feel like there's no time. There's time. So you're starting big. You're going for it. You're putting the time and energy in. And you're willing to take the risk. What's the risk? Leaving your status quo. The risk is not having that 9 to 5 that's got to put food on your table or feed your household or set you up on that car payment or that mortgage. It's being willing to adjust the things in your life so that you can become who you want to be. Because if you don't adjust and become who you want to be, you are going to be who you don't want to be. And being who you don't want to be is ultimately going to leave you unhappy. Being unhappy is going to live you a life unfulfilled. And you will be focusing on other people's lives. You will be living vicariously through their experience. So that's not ideal. So when you decide to start big, which can be today, start big today, start putting in the research, start putting in the time, start going, and stop caring about what other people think about it. Stop caring if you have fans. Stop caring if you have people who are along the road with you at the start. That's not important. You be the number one catalyst. You be the number one mover, and then you're going to be able to make it happen. Your percentages will come up. The third key on this, that's a really big deal, is you've got to focus small. And so everything will not be important when you're pursuing who you want to be. You got to focus small. Focus on the things that are going to make really big changes. So referencing the astronaut, the things that will make really big changes, in the future it might be your balance. It might be you getting in shape. That might be your cardio being on point or you being able to hold oxygen for a long time. But from jump, it's 100% going to be the knowledge. Putting energy into what is that life really like? What is that experience really like? And if you want to be innovative, if you want to be able to take it to an even new level that it hasn't gone to and it hasn't risen to, then you will be required to work harder mentally and focus more granular than anybody who's done it. If you want to be innovative, it will require more time, more effort, more granular thinking. And it doesn't all have to be studious in front of a book on a computer typing. That can be through conversation. That can be through you getting up and going out and talking to the people who are currently involved in it and not believing that it's a competition. And that goes for any of you who ever feel like it's unwise to tell other people about what it is that you want to do or to share information with people who are quote unquote competitors. The only way anybody who's ever risen to the top of the food chain that they want to is by ingratiating themselves and involving themselves with competitors. It works that way in professional basketball. Michael Jordan would train with other people who are at a high level. It works that way in music. Right now, Drake is an artist most people know the name of. Drake has to collaborate with other people in order to be able to get to a new level. And those people have trust that ultimately their brain, their knowledge, their drive will be the thing that wins out. It's not that they go tuck away and get in a basement and nobody sees them until their product comes out. It's that once they arrive, they know that they're going to have confidence that they are going to make it happen regardless of who's around. It doesn't matter who the company is. It doesn't matter who the other team is. It doesn't matter who the other artist is. And that's where you could get. You can have that. You don't have to be those people. You could be you and you can have that. But you've got to hit these 3 keys. You've got to figure out who you are. You've got to figure out who you want to be. Those as one. Who you are, who you want to be. And then you've got to start big. You've got to get it going now. There's no wait. You don't need prep time. You don't need in 6 months when things slow down. You could start today. You could. And if you really want it, you would. I'm telling you, you could. And if you really want it, you would. And the final thing is, it's focusing small. It's putting your energy and time into accomplishing the little things. So I want to be a person who influences on social media. I want people to believe in my message on social media. If that's you, then every day you've got to make sure you're getting your message out on social media. And the people who connect with it, they will start to come. Don't worry about if you have 12 followers after 2 years. Don't worry about if you have 74 likes and 73 of them are your family and friends. Don't worry about that. It's consistently putting in time and energy towards what you want to do, because that is what's going to have you arrive where you want to arrive. It's not going to be about other people's opinions of what you want to do. It's got to be about your opinion of what you want to do, who you want to be. If you do that, you are going to be able to maximize your happiness. I swear. It's real. You're going to be able to maximize your happiness if you do that. So that's the energy that you're going in with today when you listen to this. Go in with that energy. And then don't stop. Don't stop. Keep going, especially when it's hard. Keep going. When it's hard, that means you're likely on the right track and you're getting better. If it's easy, you got to turn it up a notch. But if it's hard, that means you're on the right track. And you just keep asking yourself every single day, what is the purpose of me doing this? And if your answer is that thing, that who you want to be, that who you are, then keep going. If the answer is different, perhaps you want to change course. And it's okay to change course. Whatever you decide today doesn't mean that it has to be that way forever. But every day you should be able to answer the question, why am I doing this? And if your answer is who I want to be, then keep going. That's the move. What to do immediately? Make it happen. Go, move today. Start doing the research today. Before you go to sleep, right when you wake up, on your lunch break. Do it today. The resources are there. Do it today. You've heard this. Do it today. How you can find this podcast? chrispaustin.com/podcast. It's available on all the podcasting hosts. Just hit chrispaustin.com/podcast. They'll be listed there for you. Click, hit the subscribe, make sure that's a thing. What I want you to do when you listen to this podcast and you go back and you listen to the ones before this one is I want you to make sure you're getting into the comments. I want you to put down what you think. I want you to put down what you want to hear about, the topics. I want you to put down who you want to see on the show, because some of the time it's going to be me and you're going to hear this from me. Some of the time it's going to be hearing other people's perspectives. Sometimes it'll be me teaching. Sometimes it'll be me learning. But ultimately, if you are enjoying what you're hearing and you want to get this in your life, hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you check it out on these platforms. Hit it up on YouTube. Hit it up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. chrispaustin.com/podcast is where you're going to be able to find it. I'm going to see you next podcast.